Hi everyone. So today I will discussing you about the approaches and methods in language teaching. So in language teaching, there are 12 approaches and methods that I will discussing you. So first one is the direct method. So in direct methods, all teaching occur in the target language, encouraging the learners to think the language in. So, direct method is the learners does not practice translation or use their native language in the classroom. So, indirect method also improves understanding, fluency, reading, and listening skills in our students. So, let's proceed to the second page, the grammar translations approach. So, in grammar translation approach, it is one of the most popular language teaching methods in the past. So it has a drawbacks that cause it fall out the favor in modern school. So let's proceed to the audiolingual. So in audiolingual, it is a encourage students to develop habits that support language learning. So also in audiolingual, students learn primary through patterns drills, particularly dialogues which the teacher uses to help students practice and memorize the languages. So, in audiolingual, there are four types of dialogues utilized in these methods. So, what are those four types? First is repetition. So, in repetition, which the students repeat the teacher's statement exactly. That is the first one. So the second one is the inflection. So in the inflection, it is where one of the words appears in a different form that previous sentence. So inflection. So that is the word that we 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 go back to the previous sentence that we can't understand. So the replacement which involve one word being replaced with another while the sentence constructions remain the same. So the last one is the restatement. So in the restatement, where the learner praise the teacher's statement. So binabago or nire-replace nila yung sinasabi ng guro. So let's proceed to the structural approach. So in structural approach, it is understand language as a set of grammatical rules that should be learned one at a time in specific order. So also it focuses on mastering these structures, building one skills on top of another. So instead of memorizing vocabulary, they build one skills to master what the structure is. So in structure, there are four central language skills: the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So let's proceed to the total physical response. So in total physical response, it is a method highlights oral comprehensions by allowing the learners to respond the basic commands. So like open the door, sit down, It combined language and physical movements for a comprehensive language experiences. In communicative language teaching, it is one of the most popular approaches and methods in language teaching. So this method stresses interaction and communication to teach a second language effectively. So in communicative language teaching, students participate in every situations that they are likely to encounter in the target language. So that is the communicative language teaching. So let's proceed to the natural approach. So in natural approach, this approach aims to mimic natural language learning with a focus on the communication and instruction through exposure. So it de-emphasizes formal grammar training. So in natural approach, they ensure that they emphasize a formal grammar and they have a uh, communication. So instead, instructor concrete on creating a stress-free environment, avoid forced language production from students. So that is the natural approach. So let's proceed to the task-based language teaching. So in this uh, method, students complete real-world tasks using their target language. So this technique encourages uh, fluency by boosting the learner's confidence with each task accomplished and reducing direct mistake correction. So this task-based is helping students to reduce or to boost their confidence to do what they want to accomplish. So let's proceed to the full full understand three categories. So in task-based teaching, there are tasks fall under three categories: the information gap, the reasoning gap, the option gap. So in information gap or activities that involve the transfer of information from one person, place, or form to another. So that is the information gap or activities. So the second one is reasoning gap or a task that asks a student to discover new knowledge from a given set of information using inference, reasoning, perspective, and deductive. So that is the reasoning gap or task. So let's proceed to the last one, the opinion gap activity. So in this categories, which the students react to a particular situation by expressing their feelings or opinion. So that is the opinion gap activity. So let's proceed to the Gestopedia language learning method. So in this method or approach, in language teaching was developed in the 1970s by the psychotherapist Georgy Lozanov, psychotherapist Georgy Lozanov. So it is sometimes also known as the positive suggestion methods, but in later becomes sometimes known as the Suggestopedia. So let's proceed to the maintenance of second language teaching methods. So first one is disappearing where this teacher introduces new grammar and vocabulary. Second one is concert season, where the teacher read a text and the student follow along the music in the background. So this can be both active and passive. So let's proceed to the third one is the elaboration. Elaboration, where the student finish what they have learned with drama, songs, or games. So fourth one is the introduction. So in the introduction is which the teacher introduced new things in playful manner. So the last one is production. In production, where the students speak and interact without correction or interruption. So let's proceed to the silence way. So in silent way, it is an interesting ESL teaching methods that isn't that common, but it does not some solid footing. So all the goals in most language classes is they make them a student-centered as possible. That is the silent way. So in functional national approaches. So in these English language teaching methods, first of all, recognizing that the language is purposeful communication. Yes, we all know that the language is purposeful in communication. The reason people talk in that they want to communicate something or someone else that we want to communicate or you want to interact. So let's proceed to the test, teach, test approach. So this style of language teaching is deal for direct targeting students' needs. So they directly target the students' needs. So at best for intermediate and advanced learner, and definitely don't use for total beginner. So that is the test, teach, test approach. So let's proceed to the there are three stages. A test or task of some kinds of required student to use the target language. Second is explicit teaching or focus on accuracy with control practice exercises. So the last one is the another test or task to see if students have improved their use of the target language. So that is the three stages. So what is language teaching approaches? So language teaching approaches it is a way of thinking about teaching and learning. So an approach produces methods which it is a way of teaching something, in this case a second of foreign language using techniques or activity. So let's proceed to the what are method and approach. So what are? So method and approach are similar, but there are some cases that there are different. So an approach is the way or dealing with something, while the methods involves the process or step taken to handle the issues or tasks. So that is the method and approaches. So let's proceed to the fourth theoretical orientation. That is the structural, cognitive, psychological, and functional. So in structural approaches believes that language can be reduced to a learnable set of building blocks. There are rules known as grammar and syntax that govern how to combine these basic elements. So, cognitive perspective. So, in cognitive perspective, in learning a language, put the learner's back in the center of everything. Cognitive approach look to us to answer questions like how can a language be effective learned? So how does one make a set of vocabulary words memorable and get them embedded in the long-term memory? So that is the cognitive perspective. So let's proceed to the psychological. So in psychological, language learning is seen through issues like learners' motivation and predisposition, allocations, conduciveness to learning, teacher students dynamic, stress level, and etc. So it is the teacher supportive enough to the student. So in the classroom, dynamic facilitating in habiting the acquisition of the language. So that is the psychological learning. So functional and communicative. So in functional approach often emphasize spoken language over written language and preface that language isn't a set of grammar rules but rather tools of communication. So this has tremendous implication for the types of activities or the materials employed. So these four approaches aim to do something. It gives student to it gives students the tools that they need to use in the language where the real native speaker as well as understand native speaker. So so in conversation or communication. So that's all, and thank you.